Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So what happened today? Did Coinbase just crash the market? Coinbase reported horrible earnings, and it looks like it did spook many. But we are a day away from huge inflation data that's coming tomorrow. So let's talk about these things. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and make sure you follow brand new channels of mine. All right, hello guys, welcome. I was going to say good morning, but it is not morning. Well, it may be for some of you guys, but let's do this. Looking at Bitcoin, you can see, unfortunately, it fell below a little bit more versus this morning, down a little bit, but still overall 22.9. But it's disappointing to see that this morning we were about 23.3. It looked like we wanted to go back up, right? So there are definitely more fear right now. And I do believe it has something to do with Coinbase. But also tomorrow, of course, I think we can't deny that tomorrow is going to be absolutely huge day. Huge day. Right now, futures for U.S. markets tomorrow, near zero, okay? Tomorrow will be, again, absolutely huge. I went on Jeb's show right after my show, and I've said it once again. Tomorrow cannot be understated in terms of how important it is, because tomorrow's CPI number will basically dictate the remaining of this year in a good way or bad way, because most, including myself, I've said this, I think tomorrow we will see numbers that are within expectation, which means CPI actually shows that inflation has gone down because of headline inflation factors that has improved. For example, energy prices and food and supply chain. Those things should have come down in July versus June, right? And I do anticipate we'll see overall CPI number go down. However, if we get the opposite, if we get horrible numbers that shows inflation is skyrocketing, well then it's going to set a very bad tone for the remaining of the year, and it's going to put the Fed in a very difficult spot, right? For the next meeting and for the next rate hike that's coming in September. However, I do think it's not the latter. I think we will see inflation actually come down, right? And if so, I do believe we're going to get a pretty good rally afterwards. I think there's just a lot of guessing, a lot of anticipation, right? And people are afraid to make moves. That's okay. We only have to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll see, right? There's not... we don't have to wait a month or something, right? Tomorrow, we will see. We will see. Now, Elon Musk thinks that inflation already peaked. And he says he has a lot of data. He's making millions of cars or trying to produce millions of cars. And he's been buying a lot. His supply chain is massive. He has to buy a lot of parts, a lot of commodities. And he says prices have been coming down for the last 6 months, and they will probably continue to come down for the next 6 months. So overall, he believes inflation has peaked, but he believes that we'll be in a mild, at least those of us in the U.S. will be in a mild recession for the next 18 months. I can't say the same thing for UK, because this morning I talked about how UK was looking really bad. And everyone in the chat confirmed, saying inflation, prices, food prices, energy, everything is horrible in the UK, right? So if the US is going to be in recession for like 18 months, well, then UK could be in recession even longer. But the good news is I do believe this is a Fed-induced recession, so more mild than harsh, right? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, what may be affecting inflation in the future is this, especially for Europe and UK. It looks like Russian oil has stopped, or at least been halted through several pipelines, okay, which means certain countries now are not getting oil. This is due to the sanctions, and Russia is basically saying we're not getting paid, right? And they cut off oil. So this made oil go up a little bit. Still overall, we're below $100 a barrel, about $97 a barrel. We will see how this will affect things in the future, but obviously things like this is not helping, right? One of the things that's out of our control right now is how oil behaves and this war and if it's going to escalate and all these other things, right? So something we still have to pay attention to. But overall, oil has been coming down from really, really high levels and supply is being increased as we speak. All right. So tomorrow, well, again, I can't underestimate it. Tomorrow will be an absolutely huge day. Could go either way. We could see a massive rally tomorrow or we could see a massive dump. Well, there's a third option. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe nothing big happens, right? Everything comes in line with expectation. That's okay too. We'll take that, or we'll take a huge, massive pump, but let's not see a massive dump tomorrow, but it really depends on tomorrow, okay? And I said tomorrow many times. All right, now, as for today, I do believe this had people spooked, right? My headline seems to have spooked a lot of people too, my title for this video, but there's no other way to put it. Coinbase crashed and burned. They reported absolutely horrible earnings for Q2. Way worse than people expected. But here's the kicker though. Even though they went down massively today and in the aftermarket, it's still higher than when Cathie Wood sold. So that's important to note. So if you're thinking, well, Cathie Wood expected this, so they sold early. This is still like 50% higher than where she sold it at. So just to put things in perspective. However, Coinbase is definitely suffering right now. They lost over $1 billion alone in Q2. $1 billion. Okay, their loss was basically double of what people expected. The revenue came down lower. And of course, this is due to crypto winter, right? We had pretty bad 8 months so far since December. Right? So obviously Coinbase is not doing well, but they have, decided to cut their overall force by 18%, I believe. I think they got rid of their affiliate program. I heard that was cut, and overall, if you're looking at everything else that they're doing, they halted new jobs, or they withdrawed job offers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, right? So Coinbase did not do well. Did not do well at all, okay? So unfortunately, we would love to think that Coinbase is on top of the world, being the biggest exchange in the US, and basically with millions of people trading, they should be immune to crypto winter or massive periods of downward pressure, right? But unfortunately, it seems like they're not that well positioned. At least, I don't know, because they are a public traded company. So, right now we hear about FTX, like trying to buy out everyone, right? No one knows their books because they're not publicly traded. No one knows, right? So who knows? Maybe other exchanges are in worse shape, but they're just hiding it. We don't know, right? But Coinbase is definitely suffering. Now, with that said, is Coinbase going to go under? Do I think they're going to go bankrupt and go under? No, I don't think so at all. They are still massive. They still have millions of users, and they still have plenty of crypto. Most of the OTC trades all happen in Coinbase. They just signed a huge partnership with BlackRock. Not to say that we want BlackRock in the space, but BlackRock choosing Coinbase as a partner to get institutional adoption, right? That is absolutely massive. Coinbase also offers the most insurance for their custodian service, right? And they are one of the biggest Bitcoin custodians in the world, if not the biggest. So again, even with this, I think they're going to survive and they're going to move forward. And the funny thing is, the biggest irony to this is, I mentioned about Cathie Wood, right? She still sold way too early. But her own analysts are coming out and saying that they're bullish on Coinbase and Block. Okay, this morning I just covered how Cathie Wood just sold off Block to buy Nvidia, right? And obviously, she sold off Coinbase like a week ago. But her own analyst from ARK Invest is coming out saying they're bullish for Coinbase and Block. How does that make sense? Did they not talk to each other, right? I don't know. That's the irony of this. After ARK Invest sells off both, now they're coming out and saying they have a bullish outlook for both. You tell me how that makes sense. I don't know how that makes sense. You know, this analyst probably didn't get the okay to say what she did. Or maybe she did. I don't know. But again, that's the irony of the whole situation there, right? Still, I maintain my thesis that Cathie Wood probably should not have sold Coinbase to buy Shopify. Should have held it on, right? And same thing with Block. Selling both at dirt low, massive loss prices doesn't help, right? And her own analysts agree. So I don't get what that means exactly. So you decide. All right. But as for Bitcoin itself, outside of Cathie Wood, outside of BlackRock and institutional investors, right? The holders are still strong. I mean, there's nothing really has changed. Okay. I know day-to-day price, we kind of follow it. It's been hovering around 23,000, a little boring, right? But you know, the fundamentals still fantastic. Here's a few metrics from Glassnode that I haven't shared before. Number of addresses holding 100 coins. If you hold more than 100 Bitcoins, right, raise your hand and shout it out in the chat. Actually, don't do that. Don't tell people that you have more than 100 Bitcoin. But congratulations if you do, right? But man, the number is definitely climbing. Not all-time high, but it is climbing. And it's very difficult to accumulate more than 100 Bitcoin. But that definitely is a good goal. Imagine if you get 100 Bitcoins and one day Bitcoin becomes 1 million each. Guess what? You're a centimillionaire. Is that what you call it? You have $100 million. Think about that. Just with 100 Bitcoins. So that's moving in the right direction. Number of exchange deposits have dropped to a 2-year low. So the number of people depositing Bitcoin into exchanges to sell off, right? Very, very low. Who would want to do that? Who wants to sell Bitcoin right now, right? Obviously, it makes sense. So 2-year low for that. Supply that's been held for over 5 years, all-time high, 24%, over 24% of all Bitcoin is held for more than 5 years. Fantastic stuff. So these things, just want to throw a couple of these out. Again, measuring the strength and the overall fundamental of Bitcoin, still strong as ever. Nothing has changed despite the headwinds, the macro conditions, with inflation, with war, with everything else. Bitcoin is still strong and growing stronger. All right. So with that out of the way, what else is going on? It's not just Bitcoin that's strong. Actually, there's several projects that really didn't move at all. So despite the fact that maybe Coinbase spooked the market a little bit, market cap went down slightly, you have some that really didn't move. For example, I'm just going to point out BNB that went down barely anything today, right? And several other projects like Avalanche also barely moved. A lot of projects really didn't move. So today it seems like most of the loss came from Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And it makes more sense because most people are holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. But a lot of crypto projects have been gaining strength and really has just been adding and growing. And that's what we want to see also, right? And some good news about Cardano. It looks like Cardano whales are just buying, despite the fact that Cardano is still hovering around 50 cents. Hasn't really moved, right? The whales, they're not waiting. They are buying. 140 million ADA bought in the last week alone. And it could be due to this, because of the new Vasil hard fork, which will improve throughput and programmability. Basically, it makes it easier for people to program. And that is coming up in the near future. It was delayed a couple times. People pick on Cardano for it, but they just want to make sure things are correct, right? So it could be that these whales are accumulating before this because they're anticipating a big move is going to happen. All right. So good things for Cardano, also good things for Polygon. Saw that they just partnered up with Coca-Cola. So now they're going to come out with Coca-Cola NFTs, right? Polygon really dominates the NFT marketplace. I don't know if you guys still don't realize that, but every single project, company that wants to get NFTs, they're partnering up with Polygon. Every single one. Right, so Polygon is definitely still growing their ecosystem, not just NFT ecosystem, but everything. Fantastic for Polygon. And also what's fantastic for Ethereum, actually the real Ethereum that's moving to proof of stake, not the forked ones that will probably come to be afterwards, right? Because of hungry money grab people that wants to fork another chain, whatever. But the good news is, you know, several big projects like Chainlink have said that they're only going to support the main chain, right? So if you want to use the Oracle, you better support the main chain, which is the proof of stake chain. And also today, Circle comes out with it saying USDC will only support the main chain, the proof of stake chain, right? So there are many important aspects or dApps and utility that can only be found on the main chain after the merge, which is coming in September, which is why also Ethereum is gaining strength as well, right? So good stuff. All right, lastly, I don't know what to make of this, so I'm just going to show it anyways. I just randomly saw this. It popped up. Kwon actually tweeted this yesterday night. Decentralized networks need decentralized money. Obviously, today more than ever. And you can't reply to it. There's no comments, right? It seems like he still wants some kind of, you know, Terra UST to survive or something. I don't know. I don't know who's he's referring to. Maybe USDC. Right? It could be because USDC decided to block Tornado Cash because the US Treasury blocked Tornado Cash. Maybe that's the thing, right? But out of all people, maybe it shouldn't be Kwon tweeting this, right? Maybe it's a little too soon. I don't think he realizes that people have not forgotten about Terra UST collapse. So maybe it's not the right time to be tweeting this. Maybe give it a year or so before you tweet about decentralized money, right? I don't know. Just to throw that out there. All right, that's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. Someone said, plot twist, Kwon is actually talking about his new blender. Alonso said, that dude needs to pay back all the money. I don't know if the authorities have found him. Okay, he's still supposed to be hiding out in Singapore, so. Time to get those coins off of the exchanges and secure them with a safe seed. I don't know what safe seed is. Sounds like a hardware wallet. Never heard of them. But obviously your name is safe seed, so you're kind of promoting your own wallet. Okay, that's fine. People check it out. I've never used it guys before, but I definitely think it's a good time to be learning how to safeguard your crypto no matter what, right? It's never a bad time to learn how to use different wallets, how to send transactions between wallets, between exchanges, right? And basically learn how to safeguard your own crypto. Never a bad time for that. Digi says, I don't believe in quarter reports like Walmart. I don't know what that means. They can't really lie about it. If they do, they'll get in big trouble. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to other than Coinbase. Lambo, 9 years later, sounds like you're in the stock market. I'm not sure what that means. Have I been drinking? No, I have not been drinking, other than Diet Coke. Today, if you follow me on my I Am George channel, I put out a shorts video of me tackling the stairs from hell. It's around where I live. I used to go and tackle those stairs all the time. Man, it is hard. 115 stairs straight up. And they're not even stairs. And they're not like small stairs. They're huge. Man, I went up about 6 times. I wanted to do 10 times. I couldn't do it, but I also walked a mile afterwards. But that was difficult. Very, very difficult. So I'm going to feel the pain tomorrow. I'm just throwing that out there. Leonidas says, I'm a good man. I'll go to heaven. I appreciate that. Thank you. What's going on with Sheeb? I don't know. Sheeb is doing good, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Eric says Diet Coke will cause cancer. Well, I mean, I know it's not healthy, but still, it's my guilty pleasure. I'd rather drink Diet Coke than, say, regular Coke. What about my knees? My right knee does not feel good. Taking those stairs upwards, okay. Down, a lot of pressure on my right knee, which is the one that hasn't healed. So, probably go feel it tomorrow, too. What's a good alternative electricity source other than oil? We have all these solar and wind farms, hydroelectric, nuclear, and geothermal. But why are we still relying on oil? Because it's the cheapest. I mean, keep in mind that oil is not just for energy. It's used for many things. For example, plastics. Plastics is from oil, right? So it's not just for energy. We have so many things that are made with plastic. So we're kind of dependent on oil. And there's other things too. Other types of oil, you know, transmission oil, motor oil, Vaseline, whatever, you know. There's other oils besides gas that's also produced from crude oil, right? So you can't get off completely. Hindsight, BDC, BNB, ETH, ADA, SHIB. Yeah, when you first got in, is that what you mean? Or, yeah, it sounds like that's when you got in, maybe in 2000, whatever. Tires, yeah, it's plastic. So tires are made with oil. You can't get rid of oil. Now, as for electricity, the whole world should just go nuclear, although nuclear has a bad rep because of nuclear waste. But really, if you look at how much nuclear waste gets produced per year, it's so little, right? But of course, there has been nuclear meltdowns before. That scares the bejesus out of people. But Europe is going heavy into nuclear again because they want to get off dependence of Russian oil and gas, right? So, is it true that you're doing blow every 15, 30 minutes? I'd say a little bit less than that. Someone said I missed a super chat from OG. I don't know. Oh, do you think Matic will surpass Solana? Eventually, it could happen. Solana still has a lot of backers, a lot of investors. But if Matic continues its I don't know, its growth with NFT projects, with DeFi, with scaling, they have a shot. Probably not anytime soon, but they have a shot. Do you think the CPI number will be positive for market? Yes. I do think tomorrow could be a very good day. I do think inflation will surprise people in terms of moving in the opposite direction, not going up, but coming down, because July should be much better than June. But even if it's not drastically lower, even if it just kind of stays the same, that's still positive. That means it has tapered out, right? Even though some argue that inflation numbers are all BS and we don't believe in any of that. Well, you could believe that, but what Wall Street investors are looking at is if the number tapers out or if it's coming down, right? If it's going down, that's the best scenario. If it tapers out and it stays flat, okay. But what we don't want to see is it going up. That would be absolutely horrible. That's not what we want to see. Do I like VV? Yes, although those partnerships, I don't know. They must have different licensing because all the ones on VV are more like cartoonish, right? And some of those NFTs also exist on other chains and other projects. So I don't know in terms of licensing what VV has specifically, but they do have a lot of brands involved. That's for sure, right? I do think all the licensing will carry them and help them in the future. But for example, Disney also made a big partnership with Matic, right? Actually took Matic into their incubator program. So you got to figure they're working on something, maybe a metaverse or something like that, right? So a lot of those brands kind of like into everywhere. And Coca-Cola, you just mentioned, also just formed a relationship with Polygon to release NFTs, right? So I think VV's licensing is very specific for certain things. Crypto's water, George became the water, Johnny Waters blue. Okay. Okay. Fed wants to keep raising so they will cook books to give them cover. That could be a case. I mean, who knows? CPI numbers, who knows where it's coming from, right? Like, I mean, it could be cooked. I mean, it could be. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully there's checks and balances to make sure that it's not cooked. Are Harmony and Casper good projects to get into? I mean, Casper's okay. Harmony, I used to be more bullish on. I'm just more neutral on them. Hopefully they can recover too. But hard to get past that big hack they just suffered. Are whales buying behind the scenes? That is for sure happening. For sure happening. Even I just covered Cardano, talks about whales buying the dip, right? And there's a lot of articles about whales buying the ETH dip, buying Bitcoin's dip, buying everywhere, right? Whales could be anyone, just wealthy people or people that took a lot of profit from 2021. Right? We don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're institutions or anything. It's just a lot of people are taking advantage of the dip. It's that simple. What happened to my knee? I tore my ACL like 10 years ago, and it just never really healed right. And now it's just worse. It's just painful and weak. How does a man lose everything slowly at first, then everything at once? Coinbase in a nutshell. Dan, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct. You're kind of implying that they are suffering right now, but it's gonna get worse and then go under. I think their demise is exaggerated, right? Even though they had a really bad quarter, but there's still many positives to Coinbase. Right? They still have millions of users. They just partner with BlackRock. They still have their great custodian service. They have a ton of insurance. And, you know, they have that name recognition, the biggest in the US. Although Robinhood is kind of taking a lot of that thunder away from them. But I think Coinbase is not going to go under anytime soon. But they just suffered a really, really, really bad quarter. That's for sure. Johnny, was Sol resembling XRP? How do you feel about moving things around? I don't think it actually resembles XRP at all. I'm not sure what you're implying. XRP has not moved in 5 years. In fact, it's nowhere close to its all-time high from 2018, where Solana went from nothing to where it is now, even though it has come down, but it surpassed its all-time high long time ago. So the two are not really similar at all. Maybe if you're looking at the last few weeks, I don't know. If you're looking at that, maybe last few weeks, last few months, maybe. But, I mean, if you just go back a little bit, the two are not similar at all, and they don't operate the same way. You know, XRP really doesn't have any dApps, doesn't have any TVL. They're more for remittance and financial services, right? To use XRP as a bridge currency. Although the Flare network is supposed to change that, and I still don't hear anything about the Flare. I mean, the airdrop for Flare is supposed to happen already. I still don't hear anything about it, so I don't know. But anyways, to answer your question, I don't think the two are similar at all. I'm hoping BlackRock start opening up the floodgates. I mean, the fact that they have put their name out there, okay, saying that we are going to offer crypto to institutional investors should tell you something. That means throughout these years, when they've been saying, oh, we're not sure, we're starting to dab, we're looking into, they've been making moves. They've definitely been making moves. And then whatever moves they made is done, and now they're ready to officially announce it, right? So I have no doubt that they have bought a lot of shares into a lot of the crypto-related companies. They probably bought a lot of Bitcoin, right? They've done a lot of stuff already, and now they're getting to go all in, right? And I see that as a bullish thing. Obviously, that's going to bring a lot of money into this space, right? But first things first, let's see what happens tomorrow, right? Let's see what happens. Tomorrow we get a great inflation number data that comes out. Then we'll be set pretty much for the remainder of this year. And we can finally see that momentum move forward, right? So let's see. X Fund updates, Shibarium coming. I don't know. It should be coming. I don't know the timeline for it, honestly. Dan, okay. Thanks for the update on Baby Doge, but just the name sounds ridiculous. And not something that I'll ever look at. XRP with phones, followers wondering if we've seen peak at 200. Sol doesn't seem to be fixing issues and wants to make stores and phones. XRP actually has no phones. You know, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the commercial, or actually I should take that back. The educational video I've been showing about XRP actually has nothing to do with XRP. They don't have phones. Not at all. And they don't have stores either, where Solana does, both. So again, Solana is not copying XRP. There's new nuclear that won't melt down. Forgot name. Is it fusion? Is it solar? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. It's not fusion or solar. It's water powered, maybe. I was mentioning that. The mysterious person that invented a water-powered car died mysteriously, right? And you got to figure, probably not by accident. Kevin O'Reilly mentioned there's going to be a bill announced in Washington to regulate crypto space. This will bring trillions of dollars and push BTC to 100 easily. This will be around Q1 of next year. Well, I certainly hope so. We've been hearing about that a lot. You know, Biden put out executive orders to all the agencies telling them to come out ways to regulate crypto. But the one bad actor is the SEC. They want to control it. They want to control everything. The CFTC is battling them on that. But, yeah, you know, Gary wants to take control of everything. So, don't know, right? I hope there's more bills that come out to give more clarity, right? Proper defining of what's a security, what's not, who gets to regulate exchanges, who regulates DeFi, who regulates whatever. You know, hopefully that's all settled, right? But right now it's still kind of up in the air, and SEC just kind of taking control and thinking that they just own the space, right? Yeah, O'Leary. That's what I thought, but Dan misspelled it. He mentioned a lot about foreign funds that won't touch Bitcoin and crypto because of lack of clarity. So hopefully once they start buying, that's when Bitcoin starts really flying, right? You think about it, 100K is not that far-fetched. We were at 69,000, basically 70,000, right? What's another 30,000 on top of 70,000? 100,000 is for sure coming. Maybe not this year, right? But maybe not next year, but it will come. And once we hit 100,000, is 200,000 really far-fetched, right? So Bitcoin has to hit, just to remind you guys, $600,000, more than $600,000 each, to equal the market cap of gold, which is roughly around 11 to 12 trillion, right? So think about that. Bitcoin has to reach 600,000 plus just to equal the market cap of gold. And who says it has to stop there? It could keep going, right? So, yeah, these are all things we can look forward to. May not be tomorrow, may not be the end of the year, but just think about how early we are and think about the next 5, 10, 20 years, right? Where the space will be and where Bitcoin will be as adoption keeps growing. It's really exciting to think about, right? All right, guys, I'll let you go. Tomorrow, bright and early, show up 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. We should have those numbers out. I believe they get reported really early. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Right now, I do think there's a little bit of fear going on, anticipation. You know, some of the fear coming from Coinbase, which to me kind of crashed and burned because there are horrible Q2 numbers. But tomorrow will really define the rest of this year. What will the data show? Has inflation peaked or is it still going up? Right? So tune in tomorrow. Big day. Make sure you don't miss it. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.